Welcome to episode number 76 of Breaking Business Barriers. Joining me, my awesome co-host, Jared Ty, also known as JT, and also known as Buy with Ty. He's a real estate guru in North Texas. And before we introduce our super special guest today, I want to thank Open Media Source. They help us do these things, and then as well as American Option Insurance. Brandon Strauss is a great agent over there in multiple states. If you need some quotes on insurance, you give him a call. You can find American Option Insurance online. Again, this is Brent Duham. And I would like to introduce a special guest that I've never met personally, but thanks to social media, we had an opportunity to reach out and contact one another. I happened to see that he had a layoff, and we'll let Michael talk to you about that, but it's very fitting. Matthew talked to you about that. And, it fits with Breaking Business Barriers. So with that, you want to introduce yourself to everyone, Matthew?
Yeah, sure. My name is Matthew Dompreh. I'm currently serving as a football video operations assistant here at the University of Iowa. Been here for over 13 months now. Unfortunately, next month will be my last month with the program due to COVID financial shortcomings. I'm originally from Albuquerque, New Mexico. I've lived in 9 states my whole lifetime. I'm only 28 years old. I've kind of been all over the place. Iowa was one of 5 institutions I worked at. I went to undergrad at Western Kentucky University. I graduated in 2014. Spent time at the University of Houston, University of Pittsburgh, Boston College, Kansas State, and now here at Iowa. I'm happy to be on here with you guys today.
So yeah, 9 states. How did you find Iowa, by the way? I mean, you're born and raised in New Mexico, and then you're in a number of different states due to some opportunities, right?
Right, correct.
You.
Yeah.
How'd you find Iowa?
So my first experience with the Hawkeyes was back when I was a grad assistant at Pitt in 2015. Our third game of the season was here at Kinnick Stadium. And it was a great game. It came down to a game-winning 57-yard field goal that Iowa kicked to win. And I just remember to myself, I was actually our assistant director, and I were filming the game. We're filming the coach's view from the end zone, and the ball was coming towards us. And I was saying to myself, even though we lost, I'm like, this is awesome. Like, this is like an awesome environment. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, I grew up in Illinois for a little bit too, so I've been in Big Ten country, but I didn't know it was like this. I had no idea it was like this. So
I remember that game. I remember that kick.
Yeah.
And I have not, knock on wood, I've not missed a Hawkeye game since I was probably 12 years old, maybe 11. So those that follow know that I am a Hawkeye fan, and I don this hat every now and again. So, but you found Iowa, enjoyed Kinnick Stadium, I assume?
Yeah, enjoyed Kinnick Stadium. The second instance I've had with Iowa was when I was at Boston College in 2017. We played Iowa in the Pinstripe Bowl. And that might have been the coldest game I've ever been a part of. And I think everybody in this building can tell you that the field was terrible. People were slipping and sliding all over the place. But Iowa ended up prevailing that night too. And I just said to myself, I'm just like, I don't want to play them anymore. I'd rather be with them in some way, shape, or form. And last summer, they gave me the call to join the team, and here I am.
Well, you know what? Things have a way of working out one way or the other. And before we get into a little bit more about you and your expertise, we'll talk about why I reached out again and had you come on our show, Matthew. Why don't you let everyone know first, where can they find you on social media?
Everybody on social media can find me on Twitter. My handle on there is Matt Dexter Domps. They can also find me on Instagram at Shady Domps, and they can also find me on LinkedIn, Matthew Dompreh. either one. I don't really have a preference for either one, so anybody's free to reach out to me on one of those three.
Super. And I'll make sure on the write-up that we post that so people can find you and what have you. And again, reached out to Matthew for one real compelling reason, seeing that there's some downsizing going on. It's just not Matthew at the University of Iowa. There's a lot of this that will be happening throughout the whole college landscape, not just in the Power Five, but across the board. And it's heartbreaking. And you do some great work, because I know that you're involved, heavily involved in probably recruiting videos, hype videos. I have every one of them, I'm quite certain. And if we're allowed to, we'll also post a couple of your favorites on there, as long as we're not breaking any University of Iowa rules.
Oh, no, not at all. Obviously, schools people are hungry for content, so whatever they can get, let them enjoy it.
Yeah, we'll definitely on the write-up. We'll have a couple of links to your favorites. You can pick them.
Okay.
I think all of them are my favorites, quite honestly, but they're pretty cool, and they give me goosebumps, man. They really do. So let's talk a little bit more about, our theme really is the fork in the road. And
right.
So what's next? And now we're going to get this out there as much as possible for people. And I mentioned to you, LinkedIn is a kind of the platform of which I spend probably more time on. And have a pretty good connection. Both of JT and I are involved in and around real estate, as I mentioned, and we're always hungry for video content, aren't we, Jared?
Absolutely. Yes.
Right on. But what's next? All right, we know the fork's in the road, and what's next?
Well, what I found out on Tuesday morning when I sat down with my supervisor and he showed me the letter, my boss is a very laid-back individual, and I haven't really seen him show too much emotion, but I can tell, like, that morning, like, he struggled telling me that, and, like, he wasn't happy about it, blindsided. I was blindsided by it as well. But now my fork in the road is, which I kind of had this thing last year, just letting everybody know, college athletics is very cutthroat, and when there's coaching changes in college football, everybody's tails on the line, in a sense. So I kind of went through this last year when Bill Snyder retired from Kansas State. My fork in the road now is to either continue down the path I've been going. I enjoy what I do, love what I do day in and day out, or try to go into corporate America, where it's kind of tough for, I would say, an individual like myself to kind of break through, where people have been, doing that, their whole life maybe. I know sometimes, athletes are able to transition over there, but for support staff, it's not as easy. Just due to the fact there's so many factors, so many barriers and whatnot. And also I want to tell you guys, just at the Power 5 level, I'm one of 5 African Americans in video capacity at this moment in time. And that's 1 out of every 13 video guys. So that's a really high percentage. Obviously, that's not all of FBS, but just at the Power 5 level, I know there's 5, including myself, that we all have the same skin tone.
It's cool that you share that, man. That's really, really awesome. And how about the outpouring? You happen to mention on Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I just found out, that I've got a short time left here at what has been so far my dream school. And you've worked at some really good schools.
Yes.
And I've had the opportunity to meet Bill Snyder, by the way. What a gentleman.
Yeah, he's an amazing man.
And he spent time at Iowa.
He did. So when I first met Coach Ferentz at his little get-together before training camp last year, he already knew my name, which that wasn't the case. But when I kind of told him my backstory, he was just like, "No kidding. You're a kid." It's like, you work with Bill? I was like, "Yes, sir, I did." He's just like, he's like, it's rare that you get to, for me, like, it's rare that you get to work for 2 of the longest tenured head coaches in college football. So basically, I don't take that for granted at all.
It's connectivity. JT, you got a question?
Yeah. So Matthew, I'm really, enjoying learning about your story here. I'd be curious to know, how did you get into sports video?
So how did I get into sports video? Well, during my time at Western Kentucky, I wanted to, or when I was enrolling at Western Kentucky, I wanted to be involved in sports. I already knew that. Like, I knew I was going to, I wasn't a D1 athlete. I was a pretty solidly decent high school athlete. Played basketball more than I played football, actually. I'm a better basketball player than football player, if you can believe that. But wanted to be involved, reached out to men's basketball, tried the manager thing out for a little bit, didn't work out for me. Tried to be on the women's practice squad, women's basketball practice squad. That really didn't work out. Ended up becoming student baseball manager for our baseball team there, and I did that for 3 seasons. Basically helped pay for my tuition, books, meals, all that stuff. So I would say that was my most humbling experience. And then I kind of got tired of it. Then ended up basically at a crossroads. It's like, should I just enjoy my last year off, or should I do something? And the assistant equipment manager at the time of Western Kentucky football, Brian Dittmer, he knew I was looking for something to do. He didn't have anything. Any spots left in the equipment room, so he gave my name, a resume to a guy by the name of John Riley, who was the video coordinator at West Kentucky at the time. He brought me in, sat me down, said, "Hey, I heard a lot about you. I heard you're a hard worker. You love doing things for the Hilltoppers here. We don't do any equipment stuff. We don't do any laundry. This is that. We just shoot video." It's a very simple concept. It might be confusing at first, but you asked me if I understood the game. I was like, yeah, different things like that. And he said, like, hey, if you stick with this, basically work your tail off, and you stay committed to it, I'll try to find you a job after graduation. And that was that kind of pulled me in. And I went in, worked my tail off. He kept his word. And then 2 days after I graduated, I got a whole call from the University of Houston, and the rest is kind of history from there.
That's awesome. I'm sure a lot of people can resonate, with your story right now, just because there are so many people struggling because of everything going on with COVID. Being in the video industry, I wonder if there are, and I'm sure you could tell me, opportunities for remote, jobs to where, you're helping someone with a project here or there, and it's being done digitally, even if that person is, several states away. I imagine it'd be a different, perhaps a different industry. I don't know, but that's something I'd be curious about.
So with COVID basically shaking things to its core, obviously, I've been a part of staffs. I'm not going to say any names or things like that, but obviously being in the building is great. But sometimes you don't want to be there for more than 12, 13, 14 hours in a day. And that's my opinion. That's just me being honest. I've been a part of staffs where I've been in the building 16 hours in a row. But now that we have COVID, we have the technology. Basically, my boss, the assistant director, and myself, we have laptops that we can just remote into our laptops here, or any coach's laptop. And if he has an issue, we can go ahead and remote it and fix it. Whether it's, hey, I can't find, like, let's say, for example, here, like, hey, I can't find Northwestern film, or I'm looking for this certain, like, Northwestern cut up. We'll go in, be on the phone with them, kind of like show them where it's at, like have control of his computer. And he's usually like, all right, cool, thanks, I'm good from there. But now it's kind of like, if it gets to the point like, with COVID and everything like that, if one of us gets it, or let's say the whole department gets it, we're able to work from home. We're able to do stuff from there while we're recovering and staying away in quarantine. But this is for anybody that's kind of in this industry, in this business. I know my former boss at Boston College, he used to remote in all the time, off his phone, off his laptop, and that's where I kind of learned how to do it as well.
It's amazing how, comfortable people are getting with, remote, Zoom calls and all that good stuff. Everybody's, grandparents know how to use Zoom now, and that's an interesting, silver lining of all this. I'm curious, with you living in so many different states, if work was not an issue, let's say you were retired, Any favorite places that you've lived?
Oh, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, hands down.
All right.
Yeah, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania was awesome. I lived there when the Penguins won back-to-back Stanley Cups. It was just amazing city. Always something to do. Just loved it. Loved every single thing about it.
My mom's extended family's from Pennsylvania, and to this day, she doesn't say y'all like we do in Texas. She says use.
Yes. So Pittsburgh has their own language. Pittsburghese is what they call it. So they say like yous, yins. They use different terminology that you and like people from the outside are like, it's supposed to be pronounced like this. Like, no, we say it like this up around these parts. So it was a little confusing at first, but Pittsburgh is very unique. Love it. So Pitt and the Steelers, they share a facility actually.
Is that right?
Yeah, they share a facility. Only a wall separates the two. And like in the back of the facility, the Steelers have 2 practice fields. Pitt has 2 practice fields. But it was just amazing getting to see guys like Ryan Shazier, Le'Veon Bell, basically obviously Big Ben, Andrew Villanueva, Castro, Pouncey. Got to even talk to those guys in line. We used to be able to eat over there as a staff while getting food. So being able to just talk to those guys were like very down to earth. And Mike Tomlin, I had a few conversations with him. I enjoyed those as well.
Man, that is cool. I'm connecting more dots because Coach F is from Pennsylvania.
Correct. Yes.
Imagine that. I mean, all these dots are connected. We'll keep going there. Hey, is the term Hawkeye nice really true?
Yes, or Iowa nice, as a lot of people want to say. And obviously, I don't know if you guys have heard, we had a horrible storm pass through a couple of weeks ago to Retro. And people, just some people are just now getting power back on. 2 weeks after it's
that's right. I have family from up there, and I think I shared that with you. But I didn't want to give too much credit to the clones and say Iowa nice, but you know what? I'll throw Iowa nice. I always say Hawkeye nice, but which reminds me, when you posted that you're going to be moving on, you had everything from coaches, administrators, fans reaching out to you. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That's awesome.
Correct. Yeah,
that's awesome, and you earned that. All right, so let's have a little fun. You've seen a lot of stuff, 16 hours in the facility, working on the road, doing this, that, and the other thing, helping coaches. Hey, is there something that comes to mind that would crack us up?
And so when you sent me the sheet yesterday, I've been like going in my head thinking like, okay, like what can I share that's not going to be like too revealing
right
about, too much of anything. But yeah, I've seen so much, so I'm trying to think of a really.
I know coaches and players, they can be jokesters when they turn it on for sure. So
yeah, so I'll go back to when I was a grad assistant at Pitt. I got to know a couple of the players like on a personal level, and some of them are still good friends of mine to this day. It was during training camp in 2016, and all the players every year try to like plan that from the year before, like in their heads try to like, okay, the schedule, what's going to happen? Are we going to get this snack this day? Are we going to do this day? Are we going to be off finally? And I kid you not, so I had a schedule, but I had to keep it hidden in my desk area in the video office because they would come and like hound me. So one morning, I get basically, walking in the facility, I get up. I'm not joking. There's 3 players by my desk, office area. And I was just like, oh, hey, guys, you need something? Yeah, we need to know. I was like, yeah, we need to know what the schedule is. I was just like, I can't tell you. That like, they basically like sit me down and like interrogate me. They're like, tell us what the schedule is. It's just like, I can't. It's like, we'll leave you alone and tell us. I was just like, do you promise or are you just going to keep bugging me? But it was just like, when are we off? And I basically told them like, you guys are off this day. All right. Like, go away, leave me alone. You didn't hear it from me. You guys are going to find out in the team meeting anyway. So Just being around those guys, I basically it's been enjoyable. I do think I'll land in another program hopefully soon. If not, maybe beginning of next year. But I got a couple of coals in the fire right now. I've had a lot of people reach out in a sense, but it's been a great ride. It's been a great ride. I hope it continues.
It will. It will. The winning attitude like that, it no doubt will. And again, just connecting some dots, and JT and I will do our best to share with all of our connections that we happen to be in the industry, where maybe even do some freelancing, like I've mentioned.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I've had a lot of people reach out about freelancing opportunities. Actually, I talked to a student here who's a grad student in the audiology department. I'm meeting with her next week to discuss possibly bringing something to life for her.
So you think when the next opportunity presents itself, and it might be in a few minutes, it might be in a few hours, it might be a few days, whatever, right? You said you got some coals on the fire. Will that decision be made with your head or your heart?
It's going to be made by both, but mostly my head. You got to kind of think things through. I used to make decisions with my heart and my gut, and obviously, I don't know about you guys, but I go off my gut feeling. If I know something's not right, I usually say say to myself, why am I thinking this? Or if it's good, it's just why is this so good? Is there a catch? I kind of ask myself that, but I usually make a pro-con list with anybody who comes and offers me a position, and I usually kind of go off of there.
Yeah, that's great advice, especially for our younger folks in high school and in college that are still in college, Matthew, that listen to this. We always try to give them some nuggets. Certainly that's a good nugget for sure. Hey, I do know the Hawkeyes, particularly the football program that I'm aware of, they read quite a bit. Coach throws out there a good book, or the coaches do. Is there a favorite book that you would recommend to all of us?
Yes, you're correct. Every player gets an iPad here, and we put about 4 or 5 novels on there for them to read. And they usually do it in the off season. They usually read one during camp. But the book I'll recommend to you right now is called basically Under Our Skin. And I was sent this book by a nonprofit in Minneapolis called Managers on a Mission. And obviously it kind of talks about systematic racism and what African Americans go through. It's basically today's age, or basically kind of in the last 400 years, in a sense. I think that book's kind of been eye-opening for me. I don't know everything. I've had some uncomfortable conversations with some people that have been good. Moving forward, because obviously people want to learn about what's going on. People ask me about my daily routine, being pulled over by the police. But I think that book is really eye-opening, and I think everybody should try to read that if they get the chance to.
And once again, the name of that book, Matthew?
Under Our Skin.
There you have it, everyone. And I have that on my reading list, and it's been on there for far too long, but I do have that on there. It was recommended to me by a friend.
Yeah.
Matthew. So with that, I'll make sure it's my next book for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's a great recommend. Appreciate it. Hey, any other bits of advice as we get ready to close this down, Matthew? Any other advice? Again, I gotta say, what a great attitude, and you love what you're doing. You love who you're doing it with. I happen to be biased to that program, but I know there's a lot of great programs and great people out there. Any other advice that you'd like to offer out there?
Just want to tell everybody, keep your glass half full. Yeah, trust me. I know I'm not the only one out there, getting their job cut or eliminated due to COVID. But just keep your head up. 2020, I think everybody, even us in this podcast, can say 2020 sucks. It really sucks. But I've pushed through. I can't believe it's about to be almost September. Time flies. It was just I feel it was just March, and now looking up, before June, before June 15th. The last time I was in this facility was March 13th.
Yeah.
So absolutely, absolutely crazy. And honestly, like, I have a little story. So right before the pandemic happened, a tornado went through the Middle Tennessee area, and my mom has a house in the Middle Tennessee area. So long story short, house was destroyed um, in the tornado. Basically, really devastated, things like that. But my dad sent us photos and basically all around the house. And I noticed that there was kind of one particular area that didn't really get touched in the house. And that was my room. And I've kind of been going through some stuff earlier this year. And that kind of resonated with me, saying like, basically this horrible storm came through, destroyed people's homes that they built or saved for years. And I know I've gone through a lot of stuff in the last 2 years. But that kind of resonated with me, basically saying like, hey, like you can do this, just stand strong, just, keep your ground, push through, power through. But, they say you get knocked down 7 times, you get up 8, in a sense. So that's any advice that will help anybody right now. Basically, if they're looking for it, that was a sign I was kind of looking for. So that's kind of like what I went back to when I heard this news the other day. Just keep on pushing through.
Yeah, that is fantastic. Gave me goosebumps actually thinking about the times that we're in and collectively as a nation and from weather. And again, I appreciate you bringing up the folks in Iowa.
And honestly, like I started a GoFundMe for my mom. I've had so much support from the people of Iowa. It's like I can't thank them enough. I honestly can't thank them enough. Our coaching staff, our players, they came to check, basically when I was back in the building. They came to check on me, asking me, "Hey, how's your mom? How's your family doing? Everything okay? Do you need anything? Things like that." So I'm very grateful to be where I'm at. It's a true family environment here with Iowa football.
Yeah, it's and I saw all the folks that from the football and basketball a lot of folks from the sports programs headed up to Cedar Rapids and to help out, and Jared and I happen to be in Texas, and we just had a part of Texas and certainly Louisiana, so our hearts go out to all those folks as we wrap this up. Hey, we're fortunate, right? We're fortunate. We were able to get up today. We got together, met a new friend personally, finally. Got his number, folks. If you are looking for a pure pro, I'll make sure we get some examples of some of his fine work, which I know it's really good. So, and you don't have to be just a Hawkeye fan to enjoy it because it's really, really well done, and it's pretty amazing. So, Matthew, thank you for joining us, and again, we'll get this out for us, and don't be surprised if some people reach out to you. I certainly would love to have you back on again.
I would bet. I'd love to be back on with you guys. This is my first podcast, so yeah. I'll be honest. Like when you reached out to me, you talked about being on a podcast. I'm like, I've been dying to be on a podcast since the pandemic started. So this was exciting for me.
That's cool, man. I'm glad we could come together, and we may even bring you on as a co-host. And once your feet are landed, or whatever the case might be, then you can be on the flip side of it, and maybe bring a guest in. We'd love to be able to do that together. And I've got your number, and I know you have mine, and we'll pass along JT's as well. That way you've got us. Matthew, again, it's pretty awesome. Let's definitely stay in touch. I promise you that I will, and so will Jared. And on behalf of Breaking Business Barriers, this is your host, Brent Duhame, co-host Jared Ty, also known as JT and Iowa Ty in real estate. So Matthew, again, thanks, man. Appreciate you joining us.
Oh, no problem, guys. Thank you. Enjoy your weekend. Look forward to seeing you guys again.
Onward and upward.